how much do you think the result was down to misogyny?
Tony, I'm going to say something that's really very painful to say for me, and especially being a feminist. I think women came out and voted for him in spite of what he said. It's the only way it could have happened. The average voter or the typical voter in the United States is a woman. I think women came out. I think they lied to whatever, and they came out and voted for him. It's as simple as that.
His female vote went up by 2%.
Absolutely. It's women. And, we can talk about the fact that it's like very weird. Almost every country on earth has had someone, a woman leading them or in position of power, except the United States. I think it was women.
And Matthew, when you look at certainly the last week of the campaign where Kamala Harris was concentrating on abortion, reproductive rights, etc., and you thought, well, if she can motivate women who really sort of are on her side on that to come out, she may do very well. But I think what everybody lost sight of was that there are many women who don't agree with her on abortion.
I think it's a divisive issue. Most people in the States do support abortion rights, as we've seen yesterday in the number of ballot initiatives, referendums that were held, I think 7 states, which passed new protections for abortion rights. When people had a single issue choice, they voted for reproductive rights. But the key thing is that for a lot of people, for a majority of people, Donald Trump's misogyny, his treatment of women, his his conviction for sexual assault weren't deal breakers. They might not have been the reason why people voted for Donald Trump, but they didn't stop them from voting for Donald Trump. And I think that's a really serious concern. I share Bonnie's pain. I think there's particularly something to look at amongst young men, a grievance that young men have, a growing, especially spread online, anti-feminism that is driving Gen Z men away from progressive values that younger women have and millennial men and women have. And that's something that I think we see in Europe as well, and it should be a real concern.
Lionel Barber.
Look, it was always going to be a mountain to climb for a woman candidate, also of colour, I have to say. They've never had a woman in the 240 years of the Republic make it to the White House. Also, Kamala Harris only had barely 4 months to get her campaign together to win. I think it was a mistake.
100-something days.
Yeah, it was a very short, it was a sprint, not a marathon. I think that there were other issues which were much more important than abortion rights: inflation, border security, immigration. These were the cutting-edge issues. Now, when you talk about male and women voting with for Donald Trump, I think they look past the misogyny, his criminal record, his character, and they just saw, in a time of trouble, uncertainty, insecurity, they went with what they knew.
And also, Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, Matthew, both pretty unimpressive candidates, actually. If you're going to have your first female candidate, you really ought to have made sure that it was somebody of real quality, electoral appeal and substance.
Kamala Harris was not a great candidate in the sense that she didn't win, I'll grant you that. But I think that putting this result on Kamala Harris or her campaign misses a broader point. This is an election, the famous slogan, "Is the economy stupid?" People felt worse off now than they did 4 years ago. It's actually why Donald Trump lost 4 years ago. In their pockets at work, in their standard of living, people felt poorer. And that is always going to hurt incumbents. And we've seen that not just in America, but around the rest of the world. Incumbents who preside over a cost of living crisis are likely to lose office.
I got to say this. I'll do it really fast. Hillary Clinton was arguably one of the most qualified people to run for the presidency in the history of the presidency.
With no
on the
electoral
paper.
appeal, though.
Yeah, but on the paper, you're right, but on paper. Kamala Harris, the same thing. The problem and the issue is that Americans are not ready to elect a woman as commander-in-chief, and that includes women. At the end of the day, what America's concerned with is protection. Protect us in our little ocean borders from sea to shining sea. Whoever can do that, that's who we're going to elect. And they couldn't see. I think she won an exceptionally wonderful campaign, and so did Hillary. It's the fact that when it came down to who's going to sit in the Situation Room, they can't see a woman in it, and that goes for women too.
I hate to disagree with three dual nationals about this, but I think if Nikki Haley had been the candidate, I think it might have been for the Republicans against Kamala Harris. I mean, okay, you'd have had two women then, so maybe it's an unfair comparison. But I think that there are plenty of qualified women out there who would have far more electoral appeal than Kamala Harris was ever going to have. I mean, I don't know whether you agree with this. I mean, just put this to you, Lionel. I think this has knocked back the cause of a woman becoming president for many years. Now, I don't think I will live to see one.
I'm not sure about that.
Me too.
I agree profoundly with what Bonnie said about it being a big hill to climb to see a woman become commander-in-chief. But I do think also that Kamala Harris wasn't the right candidate. And I think the Democrats have a real problem with what's loosely called wokeism, woke culture, being equivocating on trans rights, all this stuff, that these cultural issues really hurt the Democrats on top of the economic issues.
It's interesting, the first trans woman elected to the House of Representatives yesterday. Which you might not have thought that would happen for many, many years.
Well, she's in the House of Representatives. She'll be there for 2 years, okay? I mean, people, I'm not knocking that, but that's where she'll be. The President of the United States is different. Kamala was a fine candidate. She's as fine as Donald Trump is. At least she's not a felon. But see, this is the issue, and people don't want to face the fact that a lot of this is racist, and I hate to go there, but it is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of black women in America right now are sitting down and thinking about in some ways, what is our place in the hierarchy of things, and not just black women, women
I would
of color.
bet you money that if Michelle Obama had been the candidate, she'd have won.
Michelle ain't crazy. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. I wouldn't have done it, neither would Michelle.